Hey guys, Mr. Smith here. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you guys how to roll up those tubes so that way we can start building our sculptures. Okay? So the first thing you want to do is get your paper. Alright? Mine's blank. I didn't do one yet. So the first thing you want to do, get your paper. Alright? I made copies for you guys, so you want to make sure that you're stacking up your papers. Okay? So I have 4 here. Alright, I'm going to get them nice and even like this. Okay. Then I'm going to measure. When I measure, I want to measure using the inches side. Okay. I'm going to measure 4 inches. Okay, by 2 inches. So it's going to be a rectangle. Alright. So I put my ruler down. 4 inches. Here, and I'm going to draw a line so that way I know where my 4 inches would be at. Alright, so there's 4 inches. Alright, so here. If you look, from up here to down here where this line is, that's 4 inches. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my paper long ways, or vertically, as I like to say, and I'm going to measure 2 inches across the top. So I'm going to make little lines every 2 inches. So count by twos. 2, 4, 6, and 8. And what I will do is I will make lines where my rectangles, or my 2 inches, where the 2 inches dots are. Alright, and then that way I have a couple rectangles. Alright, so here they are. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to hold my paper and I'm going to cut. So if I'm holding my paper and I cut, and if I have 4 pieces of paper or 5 or whatever, that means I'm going to make a bunch at one time, right? So here's my rectangles still, and all I'm going to do is just cut them, and what will happen is, so that's, I should end up with 16, and this one you have to cut a little bit off, just a tiny little bit, and there you go. So now I have all these rectangles that should be very close to being even. Okay, some of them are a little tiny bit off, but it's not going to be enough to affect the outcome of what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, so what I want to do is separate them now. So there's 1, 2, 3. All right, so I'll separate them. I'm not going to do all of them because that's kind of a waste of time for you guys. What I want to do is just separate them, and now here comes the part where you have to roll them up. All right. So what I do is I have a pencil. I take my paper, okay? So my pencil point is down like this. Everyone see that? And all I do is I roll my paper around my pencil. That's it. Just like that. Okay, so my paper is around my pencil, and the next thing I got to do is I get a little bit of glue, okay, and I just put a little bit in there. Alright, do not use a lot of glue, because if it's too much glue it's going to be wet, and you don't want that. You want it to be just a little tiny bit of glue does a lot. Alright, and then you roll it up, hold it for you know, probably a couple seconds, probably maybe 20 seconds, maybe count in your head. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And if you have a little bit of glue and it's around the pencil, it should just slide right off, and you have your tube. All right. So there's my tube. Okay. All right. So this is it. You roll up as many of these as possible, all right, until you're out of paper. So once you're done rolling all of these, all you do, I'll give you a basket, and you just drop it right in there. Now when you're done rolling all of them, then you can start with a base of your sculpture, all right? And the base, you want it to be some kind of shape. So, you know, a triangle shape, a square shape, a rectangular shape, all right? So the base is real strong. You want the base really strong, because if it's not, it's going to fall over all the time. And you want this to stand by itself. So I'm going to grab one of them that's right behind me, right over there, okay? I'm going to grab one, I'm going to bring them over to the camera so you guys can see it, all right? So here's a few that I thought were pretty neat that I kept. So here's one, okay, has a triangular base, all right. See, but I think the top is too heavy and it actually falls over. All right, see how crooked it is? So when you're building these, if you want to make it crooked, that's okay. But if I were this person that did this, I would make sure that I added more over to this side, because that way it won't fall over, all right? If I let this go, it's going to fall, and I don't want it to fall again, because this piece is barely hanging on right here, all right? So we'll put this one aside. I'm actually going to put it in the basket that's off screen, so that way it stays safe. And then this one is a really nice one. So this one you have a square shape going all the way up, okay? So it's all the way up. And you're actually, what they did was they kind of hid a couple. There's a tube in here, okay? You guys can probably see it, all right? And then there's a little hole right here, okay? You can see through it, all right? So this one's really good, okay? So, like I said, take your time, roll them up nice, roll as many as you can today, and then when you start building, make sure they stay this tube shape. You don't want to flatten them or anything like that, all right? Glue takes a little bit to dry, so just use a little tiny bit and just press together, and then that way they're not wet with glue, and you know it's easy to build the sculpture. All right? Have fun, guys.